Jupiter is a big and beneficent personage in the planetary family, wise, wealthy, and jovial. Mythologically, Jupiter, or Zeus, was the king of the gods who had overthrown his father, Saturn, or Kronos. If any planet competes with the Sun for grandeur and dignity, then it is Jupiter, the largest planet proper in the solar system. Jupiter brings good fortune, expansion, growth, and faith wherever he is located or influences in the chart. Jupiter is associated with long-distance journeys and faraway people and places. Jupiter presides over religious beliefs and moral or ethical values, as well as those social institutions that provide care and protection, or preserve and disseminate knowledge, particularly philosophical knowledge, or high-level education. Jupiter is associated with optimistic, opulent, and/or wise people. In Vedic astrology, Jupiter is literally called Guru, pointing clearly to Jupiter's association with knowledge, learning, and teaching. Physiologically, Jupiter is consistently associated with the liver, as well as with body fat. A typical Jupiter type has a large and strong body. Generally, Jupiter would promote good health, and even healing and restoration, though doing things to excess is one weakness to which Jupiter is prone, so that Jupiter-induced health problems, from hangovers to weight gain, may be directly related to jovial overindulgence. Jupiter traditionally rules the signs Sagittarius and Pisces. We could say that the open, extroverted, masculine fire sign Sagittarius represents exoteric religion, whereas Pisces represents a more feminine, mystical, and esoteric manifestation of the search for truth. Although Mercury also relates to learning and education, Mercury's approach has a narrow range and focuses on fine detail. Jupiter represents the big picture and one's overall comprehension of a subject or an issue. A strong and prominent Jupiter will manifest as dignity, morality, and integrity. The person may be wealthy and well-traveled, and therefore easily takes a broad, optimistic, and tolerant view of things. The person has a buoyant and idealistic personality, and yet this idealism and optimism is normally quite balanced, practical, and realistic. Expecting the best tends to promote success. And yet the ideal Jupiter type is unlikely to be exceedingly enamored by material things, and will, on the contrary, have a strong intuitive sense of spiritual truth, and will consciously cultivate spiritual, or at least socially acceptable moral values. the person is generous and may well have the capacity and inclination to bring about improvements in the lives of others, material, moral, or educational improvements, and those things for the society at large. A weak or poorly integrated Jupiter will typically manifest as pessimism and a lack of faith or joy. The person may be cynical about religion and may experience more conflicts with religious people, teachers, or institutions. In some cases, a poorly placed Jupiter could manifest as poverty, a poor sense of social belonging or community, and a thin or undernourished body. At worst, the person will lack wisdom and moral integrity and might have a weak or distorted sense of justice and honor. Jupiter takes about 12 years to pass through all 12 signs of the zodiac, therefore about 1 year per sign. And with Jupiter in the first house in the chart, it suggests that the person is righteous and moral. Of course, this does not ensure that the person will be absolutely impeccable. It simply enhances a person's aspiration to grow in wisdom and virtue. It is not uncommon for people with Jupiter in the first house to become learned, and quite a few will become teachers, counselors, or healers. There is the potential for real altruism and generosity here. Jupiter is associated with religion and philosophy, and when Jupiter is so prominent in a chart, it brings these issues to the forefront. However, it is not inevitable that the person will have an orthodox take on religion, even though it is very likely they will have something of the seeker in them. Jupiter is also associated with travel and faraway places, and having Jupiter in the first house will normally ensure that you will get to see quite a bit of the world. On a more mundane level, Jupiter in the first house can enable one to manifest a comfortable, even opulent environment and standard of living. Furthermore, inasmuch as the first house is associated with the physical body, Jupiter here will promote good health. Jupiter in the first does, however, seem to manifest often as a larger body than most people would want. If the energies or attributes of Jupiter in the first house are poorly handled, it would tend to manifest as a careless waste of material resources and a self-righteous or arrogant personality. On the whole, however, Jupiter in the first is a valuable and protective factor to have in a chart.